Welcome to the ID Den podcast, the show for teachers ready to step outside the classroom and into their next chapter. I'm your host, Charity Bosch, and I know firsthand how overwhelming it can feel to leave teaching behind. Whether you're exploring instructional design, navigating corporate culture, or just figuring out your first steps, this show is your roadmap. Each episode will tackle the real challenges, share practical strategies, and prove that your teaching skills are exactly what the world needs, just in a different setting. Let's turn that classroom expertise into your career advantage. In today's episode, we are going to talk about building confidence in your ID journey. The confidence crisis happens sometimes in career transitions, and it is a common struggle for transitioning teachers. Confidence isn't just believing in yourself, it is evidence-based self-assurance. I think that there are three distinct phases where confidence wavers. First, the decision to even leave in the first place. Second, when you're learning and applying for those jobs. And third, when you get that first job. Understanding each phase is important because it will help you prepare and push through when you start to experience some of that self-doubt. There are some universal confidence strategies that will apply across all phases, and I want to go through those first. Number one, keep a victories journal of both your teaching and transition wins. It is research-backed that gratitude and staying positive, and I'm not talking about toxic positivity, but staying positive, staying optimistic is going to help overall, especially when it comes to confidence. So tracking those wins, whether that's in teaching, still in the classroom, or during your transition, is going to be huge. It is also going to help once you land that first job. Number two, practice self-compassion. You'd never talk to a student the way that you talk to yourself. You'd never talk to your partner, your sibling, your parent, any sort of loved one. So you need to love yourself and not talk to yourself in those negative ways. Make sure that you're practicing self-compassion. Number three, focus on your why. And hopefully you have listened to the values episode. That should help you develop your why and focus on that. Those reasons are going to be driving your transition, and those reasons are going to help keep you grounded throughout it. Build evidence-based confidence through small, consistent actions. Confidence, just saying, oh, I'm going to be confident. Yes, mindset is a piece of it, but when you can say, nope, this is my confidence, I have these pieces of evidence to back it, it is a lot more powerful. And finally, remember that confidence follows action, not the other way around. Becoming an expert in instructional design skills and tools is not going to build confidence. Doing is going to build confidence. Interviewing, doing the things that you need to get out of the classroom and into this role, into that first job, and then doing the first job, all of that is going to help build your confidence. You do have a teaching advantage in building confidence that I don't want you to forget about. You've already navigated major challenges in the classroom, whether that's curriculum changes, new district policies and procedures, a challenging student. You've already navigated a lot of major challenges in the classroom in your teaching career. So that is a piece of evidence that you can use to build your confidence. You've adapted to the constant change in education. You can adapt to this change in transitioning into a different career and different environment. You've built relationships with difficult stakeholders, parents, administrators, colleagues. All of those people are stakeholders in your profession. So you can build relationships with difficult stakeholders in the corporate environment. You've managed plenty of crisis situations with limited resources. You are scrappy. You can do it. You know how to learn and grow from feedback. Your entire career has been constant feedback. Feedback from your learners during lessons, feedback from your administrators during observations. You can take situations that might be criticism, and you know how to learn and grow from that. So let's jump into the first phase. Phase one, building your confidence in making the decision to leave. And this phase, I feel, at least for myself, was the most challenging because it is so internal. It is me against me. It's easy to fall into the guilt spiral. Am I betraying my students? Am I betraying the profession as a whole by leaving? Am I betraying my colleagues for abandoning them? Imposter syndrome starts before you even get going on job applications. Who am I to think that I can do something else? Can I do something else? Am I just a fraud? A lot of these negative thoughts can pop into your head. Fear of making the wrong choice and regretting it later, which I will say that one is fairly easy to throw out the window because you can always go back to teaching if you feel like you made the wrong choice. Okay. So the comparison trap, seeing others succeed and thinking you can't. The job market is really hard right now. So you might start seeing people get jobs and you start wondering, is there something wrong with me? I haven't gotten a job yet. Don't fall into that comparison trap. So let's talk about some ways that you can build confidence during this decision phase. First, audit your teaching frustrations versus your teaching joys. What are the things that frustrate you, that can motivate you during this decision phase? What are the things that you still love about teaching? Think of it as a pros and cons list. These things are going to help build your confidence in whatever decision you end up making, whether that's leaving or staying. If that does lead down a path of, nope, I feel like I need to leave, and this is building confidence in that decision that I need to leave, start researching the market demand for instructional designers or any other role that you're considering. Connect with teachers who have transitioned successfully. I am one of them. That is the point of the ID Den community, is to build that network of people that you can go and talk to and shoot ideas to and get feedback from. Give yourself permission to want more without the guilt. Okay? That is going to be a huge one to overcome. You've got to let go of that guilt. You've got to get out of that guilt spiral. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to want differently for your life. There's nothing wrong with that. And then set a timeline for exploration, not commitment. Give yourself a deadline to do your research, to do your pros and cons list. You're not necessarily saying this is my deadline to make a choice, because we don't want to kind of give ourselves an ultimatum, but set some sort of deadline for yourself to do your research, do that exploration, and then that will give you a better footing for making your decision. Again, not a deadline to make the decision, a deadline for exploration. Now, phase 2, building confidence while you're learning and applying to jobs. This phase, you are going to start running into tool overwhelm. Everybody else knows all of the tools that you need to be an instructional designer. And if you're not sure what those tools are, go back and listen to episode 15 or 17. I talk about those in depth and some ways to overcome the tool overwhelm. You are also going to start running into portfolio paralysis during this phase. My work isn't good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. Go back and listen to episode 8. I talk the entire episode about portfolio paralysis and how to overcome it. You might start running into application anxiety. They're going to see right through me. They're going to look at my application and they're going to throw it in the trash can immediately. Go listen to episode 16, where you have some tips for how to translate and transfer your teaching skills to instructional design that will help you on those applications and in those interviews. And also, this is what I have also personally felt, so you're not alone: rejection sensitivity. Each no feels personal. Each automated email, thank you for applying, unfortunately, we're choosing to go with different candidates at this time, blah, blah, blah. All of those are going to feel personal. You're going to have to build a tough skin. There's really no other way through that than telling yourself it's not personal. It's not about you. This job market is wild right now. There are tons of applicants. There's tons of competition. There's a lot going on right there. You might not even have gotten your application and resume seen by a human being. It is definitely not about you. Some ways to build confidence during this phase is to focus on your progress, not your perfection in portfolio building. Every piece that you have, no matter how imperfect or perfect it is valuable. Document your learning journey. You're probably advancing faster than you think. It's easy to get focused on feeling like you don't know enough, when in reality, celebrate those steps that you're making to know more. Celebrate all the small wins. If you complete a tutorial, celebrate that. If you finish a project, celebrate that. If you finish applications, celebrate that. If you get an interview, wonderful. Even if you don't land the job, that's something to be celebrated. Make sure that you're staying optimistic. You're focusing on the positives, not the negatives, and that's going to help you plow ahead. Reframe rejections as market research, not personal failures. It's giving you insight into how the market is. It is not a reflection on you as a person. And find your evidence file. Your proof of your capabilities from teaching, your proof of your capabilities from all the tutorials, courses, learnings that you've been doing. Start putting things in that confidence evidence file that you can go back to and say, no, I am confident in this because here's my proof. And then the last phase I want to talk about today, building confidence in that first role. In that first role, we're going to circle right back around to imposter syndrome, those first day jitters that even your students feel at the beginning of a school year. You're going to start thinking, do I belong here? Will they realize I don't actually know anything? Do I even know what I'm doing? Am I even capable of doing this job? You might encounter some meeting overwhelm. I don't understand the corporate speak. I don't understand this language that you're using. I don't understand why we have so many darn meetings. You might have project anxiety. What if I mess this up? What if this shows that I don't know what I'm doing? It's easy to compare yourself with more experienced colleagues. There's a lot that can go against your confidence here. Let's talk about how to build it even in this phase. First, remember that you were hired for your potential, not just your current skills. You have an incredible ability to learn quickly and to learn things that you've never encountered before because you've been doing it your whole career. It might take a little bit of time, but you're going to learn fast and you're gonna get there. Ask questions. Curiosity is an asset, not a weakness, especially when it comes to instructional design. So much of our job is asking questions, particularly why and how. Why do they need training? What is showing you this? How can I bridge the gap from where they're at now to where we need them to be? You're going to ask a lot of questions as your job. Don't be afraid to ask questions of others, especially if you don't understand something or understand what you're doing. I will tell you, Google was my best friend when I first started my instructional design career outside of the classroom because day one, they were throwing all sorts of verbiage at me that I had no idea what it was. And I Googled a lot of words. I started in my meeting notes that I would take, writing down all the words that I didn't know. I would go home. I would ask my husband, who had been in the corporate environment a lot longer, and any that he encountered that maybe were more industry or role specific, I would look up. Leverage your teaching background. You have unique perspectives that are going to be different from someone who has never been in your shoes. Teachers are able to pick up on so much that you don't even realize that you are able to do and bring those unique perspectives and your unique experience to the table. Build relationships with your colleagues instead of competing. Now, as teachers, we lived in this weird environment of having a team, like your fourth grade team, your subject team, grade level team, whatever, and competing with them because you didn't want to be the one with the lowest test scores in your grade level or in your subject area, right? So there's a weird fine line of like, I need to collaborate with these people. They are my teammates. They are my partners. They are who I'm going to live my life with. And I've got to beat them. And you don't want to fall into that trap in the corporate environment. There are situations that can contribute to that in the corporate environment, just like in teaching, but try and focus on building relationships instead of competing. It is a red flag if an organization says things like, oh, we're like family here. And those people do kind of become your work family. They are who you're going to spend a lot of your time with. Use them as colleagues, friends, and resources instead of trying to compete with them. Again, track your wins and contributions no matter how small. You did a needs analysis. That's a win. Celebrate it. You've done a design plan. That's a win. Celebrate it. You ran a meeting with a SME. Celebrate it. Everything, no matter how small it may seem, needs to be celebrated. Let's talk about dealing with setbacks. You're going to run into this a lot during that phase 2 application, trying to get just to that first job phase. Remember that rejections don't define your worth or your potential. It's not about you. Every no teaches you something about the market. Yes, reflect a little bit and think, could I tweak my resume in a way? If you're getting a bunch of no's, like after the 20th no, maybe take a look at your resume again. After the first no, don't do that. You don't have to refine your resume, your portfolio, everything after each no. If you've landed quite a few no's, then yeah, maybe take a look. Maybe it's the way that something is being presented. But for the most part, it's not about you. It's about the market. You don't have to change something after every rejection. Remember that confidence is not constant. It ebbs and flows. You're going to have days where you feel really confident, you feel on fire, you feel like you've got it down. You're going to have days where you struggle and you feel like you don't have it down and maybe you don't know what you're doing and those sorts of things. Don't make decisions in the ebb. Don't get into a trap of negativity and spiraling and then I'm going to give up. You never want to make a decision in that space. You're going to build resilience through small daily actions. Every step forward, every day you move forward adds up. It's not going to be everything all at once. Community support really matters during low confidence moments. So I really suggest that you find your community, whether that is through ID Den, whether that is through other teachers you know, a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group. Find your community because when you are having those low confidence moments, that's when you turn to them and say, hey guys, I'm really struggling. I feel XYZ today because XYZ. And then you have the community to say, you're not alone. I felt that. This is how I pushed through it. This is only for a moment. No, here's all the proof that you've given us and told us as a community that we can go against what you're feeling in the moment. Again, using that proof, the evidence-based confidence. No, this is how I know I've got this. And so that community is there to support you through that. There are some normal things to feel when you're going through transition and you have that normal transition anxiety. And then there are some red flags that you need to address. Normal transition anxiety sounds like occasional doubt, getting frustrated by the learning curve or the tutorial you're going through, maybe not clicking right away, getting those first job nerves, right? Those are all normal anxieties to go through, frustrations to go through. You doubt yourself here and there. However, if you are constantly experiencing self-doubt, if you're avoiding taking any action because you're paralyzed by fear or those nerves, if you feel like you have the inability to see any progress, you don't see any wins, even if they might be there, to celebrate, that's a red flag where you need to seek additional support rather than just push through. Those normal, occasional doubt, learning curve frustrations, first job nerves, push through. That's just normal anxiety. You'll get through it. If you feel paralyzed by self-doubt and anxiety and it makes you not even move forward at all, you need to seek some additional support. And that could be as serious as seeking out a therapist. Unfortunately, the teaching profession comes with a lot of trauma. And sometimes that trauma is so bad and so deep that you need a professional to help you work through those traumas to then be able to build your confidence, to get out of those self-doubt spirals, to start taking action, to be able to see and celebrate the progress. Sometimes you might just need a coach, someone to kind of pep you up, help you get through it. So you're going to have to start analyzing if you're seeing those red flags. Why is this happening? What is going on here? What do I think it could be? Is it so serious that it's trauma-based and I need to seek out a mental health therapist? Or is it maybe not as deep, but I can see that it's stalling me and I need someone to help coach me through it one-on-one? So those are some options there. Make sure that you're reflecting, so that you are able to notice those things and decide if it's something that's just normal anxiety or if it's a bigger red flag that needs to be addressed. Some practical confidence building exercise are doing a weekly wins documentation. At the end of every week, think about the jobs you've applied to, think about the decisions that you were made, think about progress on projects, and document weekly wins. And over time, you're going to see how those start to add up. Another way to build confidence is to do a skills translation exercise. Take your teacher language, make a little dictionary for yourself and maybe to share with others, taking teacher language and translating it to corporate language to show You do know what you're talking about. You do know how to say it and phrase it in that corporate language to be understand. Do mock interview practice. You can leverage AI for this. Have ChatGPT, Claude, whatever your preferred large language model provider is, and have them come up with interview questions to ask you. Write out your answers to these questions in the AI and have them give you feedback. Better yet, do it with someone else, someone maybe that has made the transition. I am happy to do this with anyone. Do those experiences. If you can do it in person, it's going to be even better because that's more like what an interview will be. But at a minimum, do it, leverage AI for this. This is a great use of that. Conduct a portfolio review with other career changers. You can find someone maybe in one of your communities to say, hey, I'll look at your portfolio and give you feedback if you look at my portfolio and give me feedback, and do that review and kind of get ways to maybe tweak it. And ways, again, we want to focus on positive as well as suggestions. Ways to be like, yeah, no, this is great. I love this part of this. And you build your confidence through that. And then make sure that you're setting small, measurable, achievable goals and tracking your progress towards those goals and celebrating when your goals are met. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Share this episode with your teacher friends who are also considering a change. Connect with me on Instagram at @theIDDen. And remember, confidence isn't a prerequisite for transition. It's going to be a byproduct. Confidence follows actions, not the other way around. Every expert was once a beginner who felt uncertain. I've been there. I am an expert who was once a beginner who didn't know what the heck I was doing. Your teaching background is going to give you a more confident foundation than you realize. Trust the process and trust yourself.